Alrighty guys, and welcome back to another part of this F1 2015 career mode with Max Verstappen. It's round 17, so just 3 more races to go in this championship, and as you can see we're in a very solid position for the championship at this current moment. Looking to take another race off this season and see if we can either extend that lead or do some damage limitation depending on what the pace is going to be like around this Mexico Grand Prix circuit. So cutting straight into qualifying as we do, coming around the final corner now. So Hamilton already on pole at the moment for 20.7. We've rounded the final corner for an initial 20.2, which is good enough for P1 at the time being. However, Rosberg crossing line with an 18.8 behind us, so nearly a second and a half clear there for the Mercedes. We're going for another lap now, and again coming around the final corner, trying to get on the power as best we can around here, as we're very bad on traction it seems. We improved to a 19.6, moving us to P3, just Rosberg and Raikkonen ahead. However, because of the fact that it looks like there's going to be quite a few pit stops in the race, we've decided to try and save a few sets of option tyres. So we've had to settle for P3, Rosberg and Raikkonen occupying that front row. But as we always say, most importantly, we're ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who's qualified directly behind us in 4th place. So it's going to be a battle off the line. Our starts tend to have been not too great. As you can see, the clouds seem to have been building, so hopefully that rain is going to stay away after saving those sets of option tyres in qualifying. So, race strategy, let's have a look to see what it's going to be wanting to do. And it's saying all options, so I can only presume that there's a full stop somewhere in there, because obviously we can't do the whole race just doing options. So, yeah, I presume there must be a prime stint later on for a full stop, but that's looking very risky. I'd say full stops I'd never expect to make a full stop strategy in a 50% race. So we'll probably look to go to a 3 stop, but like I say, that's all depending on what the weather does, with it currently being overcast and cloudy. But we'll see how that develops through the race. But now it's time for the start, waiting for the 5 red lights to come on, which they now are. And away they go. Rosberg with a little bit of wheel spin ahead. We've got a pretty poor start once again, as we said. Hamilton already flying past. There goes the Williams of Bottas on the right. The Williams of Massa on the left as well. We're already down to P6. We've got somebody on our inside. I think it's Ricciardo on the inside. We've got the other Red Bull on the outside. We're already down to P6. And going in pretty deep there. 3 wide ahead. Bottas cutting the corner. Hamilton sandwiched in the middle. Raikkonen trying to squeeze through on the inside. But it's Hamilton getting through. And as they all go very wide on the exit, we've got a massive switchback on I think 2 cars there, and now going side by side with Hamilton down into what's going to be I think turn 4. Trying to see what we can do under the braking. Hamilton with a little lock up, holding it on the inside. We're going to hold it around the outside, get the inside for the next few corners. Rosberg already clearing off into the distance, but it's Hamilton we need to worry about now, the championship rival and the car we're battling with on track. Looking to get the position, but with poor traction, you see the moisture on the car, so it looks like rain is in the air. Hamilton is squeezing back up the inside and gets 2nd place back now, so we just need to try and follow in the slipstream as best we can. See, expecting light rain in 5 minutes. It looks like to me that it's already here, so I don't know what the engine is doing. He needs to stick his hand out of the pit wall or something. But now Hamilton, as we go into the final sector, looking up the inside, going in a little bit deep, but we've made the move stick, and we've actually managed to force Hamilton a bit wide, so he's now under pressure from Bottas as well in this stadium section on the first lap. So it'll be interesting to see there. They're constantly swapping places. You can see probably in the top left, it keeps switching between Hamilton and Bottas. But as we complete lap 1, Rosberg with over a 4 second advantage already at this stage of the race. That is absolutely outrageous. However, on lap 4 you can see the rain really picking up in its intensity, and Rosberg has been reeled in by us here over these last few laps. And it seems that he's pitting already, so it's definitely not wet enough yet for intermediate, so I can only presume that he's had some severe tyre wear issues, which has caused his pace to drop off and now have to pit already. We're looking to react to that, and just a couple of laps later on lap 60, the rain really picking up, and we're in that zone where we need to switch tyres because the options are gone, but we just do not know which tyres to go to. So intermediates would, you'd think they'd be the best, looking at the fact that it's raining, and in normal F1 in real life, that would mean get off the slicks, get on the intermediates once there's any sign of moisture. But with this game, as we've seen from previous races like Suzuka, to name the most recent as far as I can remember, it never really seems to work how you would expect it to in terms of which tyre you should be on. So, we've got cars staying out on slick tyres. I believe Rosberg actually came in and put on a set of dry tyres again, but we have gone to the intermediates to see what we can do. We've dropped down to P10 as Ericsson and Sainz come flying past on their dry tyres still, and so we're down into P10. Rosberg already cleared off up the road. As you can see, although the tyres are cold and you expect there to be no grip, there really is literally zero grip. Bottas behind us has pitted, so it'll be interesting to see what he's going to be doing in terms of pace, as to whether he's going to be catching us. And as you see, as we skip to the end of the lap, he is indeed right behind us with, I think that's Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton behind as well. It is indeed. So a few more cars in the pit lane now. As you can see, the rear tyres overheating as we try and get the power down out of that final corner. Bottas comes through with the use of DRS. Hamilton looking to come through as well with the use of DRS. He's on the left, just in the wing mirror there, but not looking to make the move yet. As we've tried to go in, we've completely missed the braking point there, gone extremely deep, ran past the back of Bottas. Hamilton slips through as well. So a bit of a mistake there, as we lost our reference point under braking after looking at what Bottas was doing. So we've lost the position there. But just, I think it's the same lap, maybe later on in that same lap, I believe. We've got signs up ahead causing a bit of mischief between Bottas and Hamilton, as these guys are going extremely slowly now in this final sector. So it looks like maybe it is now time for intermediates. Let's have a look. Are they going to peel off into the pit lane? Bottas does not, Hamilton does not, but Sainz does. So interesting to see that a few of the cars staying out then for another lap on their dry tyres. We've still got DRS in use, so that would suggest that it's possibly not yet time for the intermediate tyres, but it can't be long now as the rain is picking up, the track getting wetter and wetter, and it's Massa who's just come out there. And let's have a look, what tyres is he on? He looks like he's gone into another set of options as well. So he's just pitted under these conditions and put on another set of dry tyres, which is interesting. So is the rain going to pick up in terms of being useful for intermediates? It's very strange to say we're in sort of that no man's land where dry tyres and intermediate tyres seem to be working just as good as each other, which is extremely strange. You'd never expect that to work at all. You expect the dry tyres to either go cold or the intermediate tyres to overheat, but now it looks like the crossover point is just about here as we're getting a run on Hamilton, who's struggled for traction out of the exit of that turn. With the use of DRS we go around the outside, spotted the braking point nicely this time, and we have made that move back up into what's P3. See Rosberg just up the road, who I think is struggling on worn tyres. Bottas now, again you can see extremely slow compared to us on the intermediate tyres, so I'd expect these guys to be coming into the pit lane anytime soon. As we're just looking to try and navigate through these final few corners, they're going very slow on the inside, so that suggests they're coming into the pit lane, and indeed they do. Rosberg pitting as well, so it'll be interesting to see what we can do in terms of making these tyres last, and what the weather's going to do from this point. Is it going to increase and get to the point of full wets? Lap 17 skipped ahead, you can see. We're expecting the rain to stop, I think that's saying that within the next 10 minutes, I believe. So with that thought, with the tyres going off, I knew we wouldn't be able to make these tyres last until the slicks were ready. So coming in now for another set of intermediate tyres, get the use of a fresh set, make them count, and see if we can get to the next pit stop window when hopefully it'll be time for dry tyres. And obviously at that point it'll be up to the AI to decide whether they need to pit again or whether they're going to try and stay out on the worn intermediates before that pit stop for dry tyres, I hope, from there. So as we can see, we're rejoining P2, just under P3 there as Hamilton flies past, but it looks like we're going to stay ahead of Raikkonen, although with cold tyres we need to keep that position. But then later on in that same lap we get the call from the engineer to say that it's actually drying out and we need to go on to dry tyres already. So within a lap the engineer's gone from telling me that it's 10 minutes before the rain stops to now that it's time for dry tyres. So we've been completely screwed over here by the race engineer and the physics of how this game works with the weather interaction and the rain and the tyres and everything. So the AI coming in now, presumably for a set of, I presume, option tyres, because they won't need to use primes, obviously due to the wet weather tyres being used. So my plan here was, now I couldn't afford to pit and just follow the AI in, because I don't think we had the raw pace to keep up with them there, so we're at risk of losing quite a few positions. So what I've done here is I've tried to stay out as many laps as possible. See the intermediates really dropping off pace-wise, and Rosberg already onto the back of us, who was gaining some 6 seconds a lap on his dry tyres. But what this has allowed us to do, we've just crept into the window, I believe, for going on to a set of prime tyres, which is what we would have been looking at doing originally had the weather stayed the way it had. But Rosberg's made the move stick. He's going to be clearing off into the distance and presumably making one more stop to the end. We've got one more stop as well. It'll be on to prime tyres, so obviously with the AI looking to go on options now and then paying for another set of options later, we're going to be at some serious risk of losing some positions. But I think this, at the time, it's really the best call to try and do, other than copying the AI, because it just didn't look like we had the raw pace, as we see what the gap was in terms of qualifying. we wouldn't have been able to keep up with them there. Although we did have the fresh set of options available, as we nearly lose it coming out of the pit lane on the cold prime tyres. They really are awful on this game in terms of just cold prime tyres. So we've managed to keep it out of the wall though, regaining 7th place with hopefully no more pit stops to go. Up behind Massa now on lap 26, yellow flags up ahead, and we've got a Sauber parked in the middle of the road. We've got a Ferrari as well going extremely slowly, so once more a lapped Sauber causing havoc in this race. Luckily though, it's not for us. It's held up one of the Ferraris, which looks to be Raikkonen, as we nearly run into the back of Massa there as he goes extremely slowly around the final corner as he looks to pit, and the rest of the AI pitting as well. So this is now them coming into the pit lane, completing their final stop onto a set of options. We regain 2nd place ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So now it's going to be an almighty task of trying to keep AI on option tyres behind whilst we're on warm prime tyres. You can see just the lack of traction compared to the Mercedes of Hamilton is just awful. And as we start lap 30, Rosberg up the road, he's clear and pretty much going to be guaranteed the victory. Hamilton, with the use of DRS, getting the position back. However, picking up the slipstream from him, we're going to have a look to see if there's anything we can do to get that position back, and we do indeed manage to spot the breaking point beautifully there, and we get the place back from Lewis Hamilton. So back up into P2 against our championship rival, although he has now got the use of DRS. We're going to cover the inside, make sure there's no way through for him there, and we do a good enough job for now to keep 2nd place. But you have to wonder if we're going to be able to keep that up on these, ever wearing prawn tyres. Yeah, nice one. Prime tyres, and Hamilton behind obviously on the fresher option tyres, which just have such a good advantage in terms of traction, which not like the Mercedes needed any more advantage over us in that area. But again, the same move a lap later, Hamilton with the use of DRS. We're picking up the slipstream once more to see if we can go back up the inside possibly, but Hamilton much better on the brakes this time, locking up in fact as he's braked. Let's go with braked. He's braked just a little bit later, locked up, but he's kept the position and again getting the use of DRS there. So he will look to keep 2nd place, as there doesn't seem to be too much we could do now. He's got that pace advantage, he's got the clear air ahead of us, so we're not going to be able to do anything against him here. We just need to make sure that we can keep these prime tyres in decent condition. See, we're really struggling on traction already. We've still got 3.5 laps to go. So on lap 33, you can see the rear tyres really looking in bad condition as we come around this left-hander. Picking up a gust of wind, that's all it can be, to put down to a gust of wind there as we lose the back end. And then coming around this right-hander again, as we put the throttle on, back end snaps around, we've lost the car completely. We need to try and recover this as soon as we can. I don't know how far behind Vettel and Bottas, I think it's Bottas, are, but we need to try and get this car back, pointing in the right direction. A few lapped cars go past, and here come Vettel and Bottas. They've flown past up the inside as we come into the stadium section. We've got lapped runners in the way as well. It's all kicking off in the last couple of laps here as we try and make our way past the back markers. We've actually had a bit of contact with, I think it's Perez there, so I'm sure we'll be getting plenty of boos from the crowd as we pass through that stadium section. But absolute disaster here on the penultimate lap. We had a near miss and then a full-on miss in that middle sector. Just the back end just completely swapped ends on us as we've managed to navigate the final lap. Stuck with the back of Bottas, but just no traction and no tyres to be able to do anything about that. So we're going to have to come home for P5 for this Mexico Grand Prix. So damage limitation it was, but we just didn't do as good enough job as we probably could have done. That spin, I don't know what to put it down to. It must have been some sort of hurricane or something, some severe winds causing us to completely spin out there. But thankfully, no, it wasn't Lewis Hamilton winning the race, it was Nico Rosberg, so that's a 7-point advantage to us in that aspect. So a bit of an error there, back end just completely losing grip in terms of traction and tyres, so we tried to recover as best we could. We've managed to salvage P5 out of that, which means it's only an 8-point loss to Lewis Hamilton this time out, which means with 2 races to go, the gap is 20 points, so we have a realistic chance. If we can outscore Hamilton by 5 points next time out of Brazil, we will be world champion in this 2015 season. So that is the aim. Although not the best results today, it's still leaving us in a very, very good position for next time out at Brazil. So either we can win the race and that'll be job done, or let's say outscoring Hamilton by 5 points. I believe we have the advantage in terms of wins this season, so that'll be one to watch. But as for now, that's going to be it for part 17. I hope to see you in part 18, but until then, it's bye for now and thank you for watching.